Owen.
Like I've said this before, I like the volleyball player with the
prefer
blue
to be in harems. They would prefer to have one main guy, most women. But they would rather be sharing a guy than dating one of you. That'd be the best way that I put it. That is a better option, okay? That is a superior option than dating the average guy. Now, the reason why is not because your looks, it's not because your money. It is primarily and predominantly because you are spaced out. You're just too spaced out. That is the main reason why they're uncomfortable. They feel like your kids will be spaced out. They feel like you're not going to be able to handle things. And then what happens is they become irate and they become uncomfortable. So they start doing what's called shit testing. So they start throwing fits. They start accusing you of shit and all that kind of stuff. And then what winds up happening is you react to it too much, which then shows that you're too reactive. Okay. And then they break up with you. So that's called shit testing. So a lot of what you've seen is a giant collective shit test. It's just a giant collective shit test.
Any opinions on what Owen Cook has to say? No? Go ahead.
I feel like he forgot a third option of just being single. Like, why does it have to be one thing or another?
No, remember, he's talking to men who are looking to date women.
I love Owen Cook, and I want him
guys.
What does he mean by being spaced out? I don't understand.
Yeah, so a lot of guys they eat shit. They eat crappy food.
I agree
They go
with
to the
guy.
bar and they just drink to give themselves courage to go talk to women. That's spaced out. They're just overuse of pornography, video games, and fucking marijuana and alcohol. This is what I mean by spaced out. Most guys, they're not in shape. That's what he means by spaced out. They don't build their own business. They work at a 9 to 5. They get ran into the ground. Those things is what Owen means by spaced out. They're not awake. Okay. It's like one of the things when I hang out with, like, say, Bradley or Owen, or when I hang out with Dan Fleischman, or when I hang out with any of those guys, there's an awakeness I can't describe that exists with, like, Ryan Stewman and any of these guys. There's an awakeness that exists with them. Guys, we can hear everything you're saying on the microphones. Hold on a second. There's an awakeness that exists that I can't explain. It's like when you hang out with your buddies you go back home for Thanksgiving, you hang out with your buddies, it's like, oh, what's going on, bro? Yeah. It's like they're awake, but they're like asleep. They're not alert.
The term I use is they get it.
Oh,
That's
they get it, but there's like a low,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to sound woo-woo, but there is like consciousness is real. Like there is consciousness. AI does not have consciousness. It has intelligence, but not consciousness. There's a higher level of a consciousness where it's like I'm alert and awake. I jump out of an airplane. I am fully conscious and present. I'm at a higher level of consciousness.
Yeah.
And then it's like I just take a bunch of drugs and I'm just partying. I'm at a lower level of consciousness. And the thing is, most men are at a lower level of consciousness. That's what he's talking about. The guys who are awake, when I was fully able to be present with a woman I'm attracted to, I was better able to generate attraction because I was fully present. But I had to be more awake. That's what he's talking about with that whole thing. But it's like what he said at the beginning. Most women don't want to be in a harem, but they'd rather be in a harem than date you. That's what he's saying. And the reason why is because you're asleep. Because most of you are half asleep. Make sense?
Yeah.
Great copying for the ads, huh?
Yeah, we're stealing that.
We're stealing
Owen,
that.
Sorry, Owen's watching this right now. Owen, we're stealing that.
We're stealing that one.
Yes. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
I had something I was going to say, but I forgot.
No, it's women would rather share a high value alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta. That's
I don't even know.
simple.
You can run it back if you want. Watch the video.
I think it really just depends, though, because I feel like I've been with people who, may be able to provide me more, but if there's not transparency and communication and a level of like emotional maturity on both ends, I've chosen men or women who can at least be on the same page as me that might be considered maybe beta or like lesser value, but morally and like emotionally they have more value to me.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
26.
I'm 26
were
and I completely
were you always like this, or like when you were 18, 19, 20, did you date like bad boys? Like
I've gone through that, and then I've been sober the last couple years, and when I got sober, I feel like it just kind of transformed how like I viewed a lot of things, and a lot of things that I wasn't dealing with was I was using drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism, and I feel like a lot of people can continue to do that, and a lot of people these days don't work on themselves. They're too busy looking at their phone. And the thing is like, get off your phone and actually do some actual like inside working on yourself.
See, what happens for most women is when they get to be about, like you was talking about, like 29, 30, 31 years old, the priorities change. There's like a list of prerequisites for men. When you're 18, 19, 20, 18 through 28, somewhere in the hoe phase, let's just say. You're looking for the guy who is the more exciting guy, the bad boy, the the drummer in the band. You're looking for the guy who's the emotional roller coaster, right? And then once you get to a point where you're getting a little bit older and you're less able to sort of compete on the same level as you used to be able to, like when you were 23, that's when those priorities change. So now the bad boy you still want a hot guy. You still want a guy who's fun and has, an excitement level there. But then the long-term security kicks in, and that's when it's like, okay, I'm not getting any younger. I need a guy who's going to, wants kids, who wants to go for the long haul, who has, provision, protection, parental investment. And the priorities change at that point. I think that's a little bit what Owen was getting into right there. Is that at some point, that's why I asked you how old you were, because it's usually the guy who's like the fun, exciting,
I
roller
prefer
coaster guy.
women and men. Like I love a provider, whether it doesn't matter the gender. But it got to a point where financially you can provide for me all you want, but if there's a level of like control and that you're using to abuse me with it, it's not worth it in the end for me, because I do like some kind of independence, and I feel like a lot of people you weaponize their financial security and their stability as a way to then make me feel lesser as a person. And I would rather feel more myself and have more autonomy with someone who is more like on the same level or doesn't make as much money, rather and then be with someone who then is making me feel bad about who I am, but has like given me everything. You can give me everything. I've gotten everything I ever wanted. But if
what do you mean by
myself,
that? But making you feel bad? What does he actually do, or is he just existing and it makes you feel bad?
It's controlling every aspect of me, and the communication. We're trying to find solutions, but if they don't actually want to find solutions, they just want to find a reason to make me feel like controlled and make me feel like emotionally like I am not as good of a person as I am. I'll throw everything out the window. You can give me everything like physically, materialistically, but if we're not matching like mentally and emotionally, and it's just compatibility wise, I would rather have less money but be more secure in myself financially than be with someone who can give me the world, because I've been there, I've done that, and it doesn't make me happy. And I think that's more of a coming to terms with who I am as a person, because a lot of women, can be okay with having that financial security, and maybe the man is cheating on them or treating them like they're terrible, like they're the worst person in the world, but they're giving them everything they want. They're giving them the mansion, the cars. For me, the more I was in therapy, the more I realized it wasn't making me happy to have materialistic things. And that's something that I came to terms with. If it works for you, it works for you. But for me, it doesn't.
Sounds good.
I feel like there's a difference between like the controlling and then like the leading as well. Like I'm completely fine with being led because I am very independent. But when it comes to the controlling and like coming at it a certain type of way, that's when I like tend to back off a little bit.
See, what happens is guys who don't fuck are usually the guys who are like the more possessive ones, because they get into a relationship with a very beautiful woman and they know that on some level they're batting out of their league, right? So that's where that possessiveness comes into play. Is the guys who are in a state of sexual deficit are the ones who become the most possessive. And so how do they do that? It's through controlling mechanisms like giving you everything.
I wish you would break up with me. I wish you would.
Exactly.
I'll be out here and you snap me outside so quick. Are you kidding me? I'm so sad. I'm on stage.
It's guys who aren't used to being with beautiful women. It's guys who aren't used to actually having like sexual abundance, who tend to go, well, this is the hottest girl I've ever had, and so I better cling like fuck onto this chick here. And how do I do that? Well, I'm going to do that by being controlling.
Mate guarding.
Mate guarding.
Jealousy.
Yes, very much so.
Awesome. Do we have another one?
Yeah, we do.